What is up YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I want to share with you guys a new set of tech cards that we have available to us as virtual players due to new releases in Burst of Destiny. Now before I jump into the combos and explanations I have ready for you, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's been supporting me and all the positive feedback I have received over my last two videos. I cannot thank you guys enough, and it's been truly amazing to get both videos hit over 1,000 views. So keep smashing that subscribe button and let's try and push this channel past 200. Now without further ado, let's jump straight into these combos. Okay, so the first new tech that we'll be looking at post Burst of Destiny is Small World. Now the card reads, for those of you who don't know, reveal one monster in your hand and show one monster in your deck with its same type, attribute, level, attack, or defense. Exactly one of these. And if you do, banish the revealed monster face down. The revealed monster, of course, is the one in hand. Then you can add one monster from your deck to your hand with the same type, attribute, level, attack, or defense. Exactly one of these as the shown monster. The shown monster was in your deck. And then you banish the shown monster face down. You can only activate one Small World per turn. Now essentially what Small World does for us in Virtual World is that it fixes hands, because we have a lot of monsters in Virtual World that have one degree of similarity. Things like Ash, which is a level 3, so is Neon, so is Lulu. Things like Gamma have 0 attack, so does Roshi, and very quickly you can start to build these Small World chains, if you like, that essentially let you grab cards you do need by getting rid of cards in your hand that you don't need. So without further ado, let's jump straight into some Small World combos. Okay, so for the first combo today, I'll be showing you how to fix a hand of 2 Neons, which of course is doing nothing, into full combo with a set Chuchi. And of course we're using Small World to do that. So we're going to do just as I described. We're going to reveal an Ash, banish an Ash, and search a Lulu. We're then here just going to proceed into very standard virtual things. We're going to send the Qinglong, search the Chuchi so we have something to set for Zorkin, and then very standard. Here we're going to go Roshi. Very important here that you only summon one of the 2 engrave. If we summon the Lulu and then trigger Neon, we'll have too many tuners, and obviously that's just not going to be the correct set of monsters to make our full board with. Here I'm going to use the Zhuangmu to summon Lulu, and that's why we need an additional discard. Very important that you make your Muddy Mud Dragon first. Now I think I forgot to mention this in my last combo video. Go check that out if you haven't already. If you realize that your combo is just not going to be able to get to Zorkin before summon 5, Crystal Wing before summon 5, make sure you make Muddy Mud Dragon before Zorkin. And the reason for that is because Zorkin cannot be targeted in general if you have another synchro on board. Now a lot of people are getting clever and just, shotgunning Imperm as soon as Zorkin is summoned, or Effect Veiler either works to prevent your Crystal Wing from ever hitting the board. Now if you make sure that you make Muddy Mud Dragon before you summon Zorkin, as soon as your Zorkin hits the field, it cannot be targeted, so you avoid that crux. Of course, if you go the other way around, you're just playing right into that. Yeah, they could equally imp your Muddy Mud and prevent you from making Kaliga, but you're still ending on a Crystal Wing, which is a very sticky card to deal with. We're going to make Zorkin here, set our Chuchi, and very standard virtual things. We don't get the add back and end phase in this combo because we didn't use GG, but that's fine because we have a live Chuchi and our best case end board. So that's it for the first Small World combo. Let's jump straight into the second. Alright, so for the second Small World combo, I'll be showing you a similar thing you can do, this time by having an Ash in hand and a Kowloon. I just want to make you guys aware of a variety of routes that you can explore with Small World and what you can do with it, just with the cards that you'd already be running in Virtual World anyway. So this time we're going to reveal our Ash in hand. We're actually going to banish a GG from deck. Now it is very, very important that you banish a GG if you're attempting to add a Lulu in this case. The reason for that is because the only other possible link to Ash Blossom in our deck is Neon, but Neon has more than one similarity with Lulu. Not only are they both level 3s, they're both Psychic Winds, so of course that will not fit the Small World criteria, and so if you're attempting to add Lulu, that will just not work. It's fine that we're banishing an engine piece in this case, because of course the Neon that we're going to use later in the combo will put back that face down banished GG. Without further ado, in this case, we're just going to go straight into standard virtual combos. If you're not aware of how to make this specific end board with these combo pieces, make sure you go check out my virtual combo video. I'm sure that will sort that out for you. Again, very standard things, searching the Roshi here. And just as I explained in the last combo, we're going to make the Muddy Mud Dragon before making the Zorkin here, because I realized that this hand cannot make the Crystal Wing by summon 5, putting back the face down banished GG, and ending on our best case end board. In this turn, we indeed do get the add back and end phase because we did summon the GG, which of course is strengthening this board even more, and we also have the live Chuchi. So that's it for the second combo. Let's jump straight into the last Small World route that you can explore. Alright, so for the last small world combo, I'll be showing you how to access Kieran off drawing a Gamma, and that of course will be via banishing a Roshi due to the level 6 similarity. Hopefully you're starting to catch on to how small world works. So in this case, very straightforward, we're going to banish that Gamma and that Roshi from deck to get us access to a Kieran. Of course here, you could also access your 2/2 because of the level 6 similarity if you already had another virtual name in hand and you needed a target for it. Of course Gamma isn't going to work. But in this case, I'm going to show you how you can do it if you already draw a target, in this case a Kowloon. From here, we're going to do a very standard virtual combo, double dump for the Nian and get access to our Lulu. And we're actually going to summon the Nian on the Lulu summon, which sometimes might feel strange because it feels like you have too many tuners on board, but that's fine because the Lulu will search us a GG, which will fix that tuner to non-tuner ratio. Very important that here the GG summons the Chuchi. Hopefully, if you're watching this, you know how to combo with Virtual World perfectly, but of course you'll realize that we need that level 6 on field to make our Zulkin. Making our Money Dragon first, as I've already said plenty of times, triggering our Nian to shuffle back our face down banished Roshi. And very important here, do not forget, sometimes it might be easy to, but you can't actually make Zulkin with Nian because of course it gets banished when it leaves the field. So make sure that you're making Money Dragon with it, and do not attempt to raise Nian's level to make Zulkin because you cannot do that. Of course, Zulkin's materials need to be sent to graveyard. And here, of course, we'll summon our Crystal Wing and Fusion into Kaliga. Now, we do actually need the additional card to set in this combo to trigger Zulkin, unlike others where we might search the Chuchi or the Kowloon. But that's fine, I think, because you're getting the add back and end phase with GG, which is really so valuable and sets you up for so much in turn 3. So that's it for all the small world combo routes that I'll be sharing with you today. Next up, I think I have an engine which is much easier to implement and much more straightforward, and actually has a greater application to just making much bigger virtual boards and more consistently, and you'll see exactly why. Alright, so for the next post-Burst of Destiny tech card, we're actually going to be taking a look at Sword Soul Emergence. And the card reads, for those of you who don't know, add one Sword Soul monster from your deck to your hand, or if you control a Synchro monster, and this is what we care about most, you can add one Worm monster instead. Now in Virtual World, we play a bunch of Synchros and we play a bunch of Worms, so essentially this card is just an extender, an additional name, giving you access to that GG, that Kieran, and that 2/2 when you need it. You can also play the one-of Sword Soul Tactician Long Yuan, which gains you access to Baroness de Fleur, but the issue I have with playing Long Yuan is that to summon him out, you do need to discard a Worm, which in Virtual World can often end up in a neg. And you can also play a bunch of more interesting Worm monsters, which I'll be showing you in a combo later on. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the combos. Okay, so for the next combo, we're going to be taking a look at the Bus Lock combo, which is something I mentioned a couple videos ago, but then never fully explained it, so I realized that might have led to some confusion. Here we're going to be doing it with the new Sword Soul spell, which actually does make this combo quite a bit more consistent. We're going to begin the combo with pretty standard virtual plays. It doesn't have to be Lulu, Kowloon, it could be a variation of others. But here we're just going to go for a level augmentation play straight into a Zulkin. Now the nice thing about the Sword Soul card is, of course, because it's a normal spell, we can just set it to trigger our Zulkin and then proceed to activate it. Here we're going to be searching our Roshi, and then the Roshi, is quite important that he sends a Nian, although you actually have to summon a Kieran here to ensure you can access your Beatrice. Next up, the GG will be summoned, and then the Nian that you sent will trigger, and that gives you access to your final piece, the Muddy Mud Dragon. Now here Beatrice is going to send that Dragon Buster Destruction Sword, and essentially the Muddy Mud Dragon will let us fusion summon. Now what is this end board for those of you who aren't familiar? Now Buster Dragon essentially says that all of our opponent's monsters become Dragon, and also that on quick effect we can equip to a face-up Buster Blader monster we control a Dragon Buster card from our graveyard. Now you might think, okay, that's Buster Lock, what else? Well, the Buster Blader Fusion actually says that all of our opponent's Dragon monsters are switched to defense position and none of them can activate their effects, which is even nastier. And to top all of that off, we also have that quick effect send from Beatrice, accessing us a variety of different techs. I wouldn't really suggest running Zombie World here with the Necro World Banshee, because of course that will conflict with your Buster Dragon lock, and there's, you don't really want to have that. So instead, the tech I'm choosing to play is Farfa, because when Farfa is sent to the graveyard, you can banish any monster on field until the end phase. So that's it for the Bus Lock combo. Hopefully that clears up any confusion about it. And without further ado, let's jump straight into the next combo. Okay, so next up we're actually going to be looking at a very different Worm monster that we can search with the new Sword Soul spell. And this is actually a tech that Sword Soul itself has been experimenting with in the recent metagames. We'll see exactly what that is in a moment. We're going to start off with very standard virtual plays, activating the Kowloon, getting access to our Chuchi. The only difference here is that we're actually going to search a GG off the Lulu, and the reason for that is because we're going to go straight into a very early Coral Dragon, which might feel a bit odd. Here we're going to search the Roshi. Roshi's going to pick Nian and then summon back both the Nian and the Gigi. Again, very standard. Next up, we're actually going to synchro summon straight into a Muddy Mud Dragon. Now, this current board state might feel very strange to a virtual player, but you'll see exactly why I'm going for it in a moment. Here, Nian's going to shuffle back a card, and then we're actually going to fusion summon into Dragoon. Now, why did we make Coral Dragon? Well, Coral Dragon is a dragon effect monster, which is one of the requirements for summoning Dragoon, and also when sent to graveyard, we get that additional draw. Here we're going to get the draw, and then we're going to activate the Zhuangmu to summon out the Gigi. Now, here is a play I don't particularly like. We're actually going to use the Chuchi to pop itself to get it engraved because we need to augment the level of Gigi to make our way into Zolkin. So we're going to do that play, raise the level, and then as I mentioned earlier, one of the great things about the Sword Soul spell is that we can just set it to trigger our Zolkin. And then next up we're going to search, Arch Nemesis Protoss. Now you'll see now why I went for this roundabout way, summoning the Coral Dragon, doing this and that, because we need 3 different attributes on the field or graveyard to banish to summon Protoss. And because in Virtual we play a lot of the same attributes, you know, Earth and Wind, you don't really want to banish all of your engine cards in graveyard, which might be used later in a later game with Roshi. So that's exactly why we go for this route. Now, what does Protoss do for those of you who don't know? Well, Arch Nemesis Protoss says that you can declare 1 monster attribute on the field, destroy all monsters on the field with that attribute, and also until the end of the next turn, neither player can summon monsters with that attribute. So of course here we'll be calling Dark, but because neither Protoss nor Dragoon can be destroyed by card effects, we don't actually lose any advantage on field, and our opponent cannot summon Dark monsters, or better, special summon Dark monsters, which is incredibly impactful given all of the very powerful Dark monsters in the metagame. So that's it for this combo, exploring quite an interesting route. Let's move straight into the next one. Alright, so to finish off today's video, I'll be sharing one of the spicy routes that Virtual can come up with post Burst of Destiny, and you'll see exactly what that is in a moment. We're going to be starting off with the same identical hand, and in fact the same identical route, other than that we summon Crystal Wing off Zolkin instead of Bust Dragon. In fact, to avoid wasting your time, I'll fast forward through this section and pause when the combo diverges. Alright, so here on the summon of the Nian and soon to be Muddy Mud Dragon, the combo does change a little because when we activate the Beatrice, of course we won't be sending that Bust Dragon Destruction Sword, we'll be sending Necro World Banshee, and here we'll actually fusion summon into Dragoon. Then we'll activate Banshee to set to our field a Zombie World and we'll end our turn. Now, very important that in your opponent's draw phase, you activate Beatrice and send your Doom King Boladrock, such that in the standby phase, Boladrock will trigger to summon itself out because there is a field spell face up on field. Now, what does this board do? Well, Crystal Wing I won't explain. Boladrock is very useful and very cool when paired with Zombie World. If you haven't played with zombies, let me explain. Essentially, when an opponent's zombie monster, or actually when any zombie monster's effect is activated, you can either negate that effect or banish a monster on field. Now, seeing as all monsters in both players' graveyards and fields become zombies, of course, Boladrock will almost always be alive. Boladrock isn't once per turn as well, he is once per chain, meaning that we just have a huge supply of monster negations. Next up we have the Dragoon. Why am I playing Dragoon here over Kaliga? Well, that's probably obvious. We just have so many monster negates from Crystal Wing and Boladrock, I just didn't feel the need of making Kaliga as well. I felt like having that protection from spells or traps was probably more beneficial for this board, especially seeing as we have that additional 5th card in hand which we didn't use in this combo, so we won't actually need to be discarding the Lulu, and we still have that follow-up. So that's it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something new about what you can do with Virtual World post Burst of Destiny. And if you guys have any new techs that you've come up with, please do let me know that in the comment. I really enjoyed finding out new things from what you guys let me know. So please do that. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe. I'm really thankful of all the support that I received from my last video. I cannot thank you guys enough, and hopefully you keep smashing it with today's video as well. So that's it for today, and I'll see you guys next time.